The Senate just passed an incredible bill that is going to make America the undisputed leader in digital assets. Nobody will do it better. It is pure genius. With these words, President Donald Trump stunned onlookers by publicly hailing a groundbreaking piece of legislation that has the potential to reshape the global financial landscape. What exactly is hidden behind the curtain of this so-called Genius Act, and how did it catapult one company's shares into the stratosphere almost overnight? Today, we are going to dig into the riveting world of stablecoins, explore why Circle's fortune soared, and see how the House of Representatives is responding to the urgency of Trump's demands. But first, let us outline the questions we are determined to answer in this enthralling story. Why is Circle at the forefront of this financial revolution, and what makes their USDC token so uniquely positioned for success? How does the newly passed legislation, championed by the Senate, aim to thrust America into a new digital age of currency? And are we about to witness a showdown between the House and the President over exactly how stablecoins should be regulated? Sit tight and prepare for a journey that will weave together corporate ambitions, political maneuvering, and the potential transformation of the large-scale financial system we all rely on. For everyone following today, get ready to hear about a cavalcade of major banks, from JP Chase to Deutsche Bank, that are scrambling to join the stablecoin mania. And we will also examine a host of tech titans and e-commerce giants, all eager to harness fast, cheap transactions for global customers. This is not just about Circle or the rumored stablecoin from the Trump family's own decentralized finance project. This is about what the future of money could look like, and who stands to profit or fall when the dust finally settles. Before we jump into the twists and turns, let us set the stage. On a scorching day in mid-June, when tempers in the Capitol were running high, the Senate took the bold step of passing what has been labeled the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act. Supporters hailed this legislation as a blueprint for propelling the United States into a new era of financial supremacy in the global stablecoin market. Critics, meanwhile, cautioned that the measure might unleash enormous disruptions to the banking system, especially when so many banks are lining up to launch their own dollar-backed tokens. According to the text of this legislation, the fundamental goal is to impose transparency on stablecoin issuers and to ensure that reserve assets are properly managed. But hidden in the details is another powerful incentive. Any stablecoin that achieves certification will likely gain mainstream acceptance, comparable to that of traditional banking instruments. That has given Circle a massive tailwind. Circle is widely recognized as the issuer of USDC, which has hovered around a significant share of the stablecoin market. Although it slipped from its all-time high not too long ago, USDC remains a heavyweight, vying with Tether for leadership in dollar-pegged tokens. Right after the Senate signaled its approval for the Genius Act, Circle's stock soared by roughly one-third, surging from somewhere near $199 to over $212 in after-hours trading. Investors were quick to spot that Circle stood in the perfect position to benefit from an official government nod, even though the House has yet to finalize its own stablecoin proposals. In a single day, the buzz around Circle delivered a jolt of excitement to the entire crypto and fintech sector. Perhaps the most unexpected part of this story, however, was the level of support from President Trump, who wasted no time urging the House to pass a clean version of the act without any additions or delays. The House will hopefully move lightning fast, Trump declared in all caps on his social media platform, calling for the bill to land on his desk as soon as possible. He proceeded to refer to the legislation as pure genius and insisted that stablecoins would unleash massive innovation. That is quite a leap from a leader whose stance on digital currencies has sometimes seemed hesitant. But that is the new reality in Washington. Stablecoins have seized the spotlight as either the next wave of American brilliance or the biggest bubble yet to come. Now, you might be wondering why all of this matters to you or to everyday consumers around the globe. The key is speed and efficiency. If stablecoin transactions become seamlessly integrated into e-commerce platforms, social media apps, and banking services, everyday payments could be completed in a blink. No more wire transfer delays, no more pricey intermediaries, and minimal friction when sending money across borders. That is precisely why companies such as Shopify and Coinbase are marching into the stablecoin ecosystem. Shopify, for instance, recently rolled out a feature allowing merchants to accept USDC payments via Base, a Layer 2 network built on Ethereum. This ongoing race to streamline commerce is not just a gimmick. Many see it as the future of money moving across the entire internet. At the same time, Circle is scoring deals left and right. Their handshakes extend to Brazil, where local fintech Matera aims to integrate new forms of USDC-based settlements. Meanwhile, the concept of stablecoin collateralized futures is inching closer to reality, with Coinbase Derivatives and Nodal Clear seeking Commodity Futures Trading Commission approval to use USDC as eligible collateral for trades. Suddenly, an asset once viewed with suspicion by some regulators is entering the realm of mainstream finance. If you are enjoying this deep dive, feel free to show some love and give us a like. Your support helps us keep unearthing the complexities of digital innovation. But where does Trump's push come in? To understand that, we need to rewind to a few months ago. In March, the president signed an executive order stating that nearly all federal payments in the future would be conducted through electronic funds transfer methods rather than paper checks. On the surface, that might seem simply a modernization measure. Who wants to fiddle with snail mail checks in a digital era? Yet behind the curtain, the question arises whether the White House might be planning to roll out a federal stablecoin, perhaps the rumored USD1 token from the Trump family's own foray into decentralized finance via World Liberty Financial. If that scenario were to materialize, it would upend the stablecoin ecosystem in ways that are hard to predict, but certain to command headlines. One cannot discuss stablecoins without mentioning Tether. Tether's market cap sits at well over $150 billion. Despite questions from skeptics about Tether's backing, it remains the dominant stablecoin in terms of total circulation. Meanwhile, USDC's market cap is in the neighborhood of $60 billion, though it has fluctuated quite a bit, occasionally edging closer to $61 billion or dropping nearer to 60. Many analysts interpret these shifting market caps as a sign that the stablecoin market is hungry for clarity, precisely what the Genius Act promises to provide. If regulators create a consistent environment where major institutional players feel safe dipping their toes in, the potential for exponential growth becomes enormous. Of course, the United States is not the only region where stablecoin developments are in motion. Hong Kong has introduced its own stablecoin legislature, attracting the likes of Ant Group's subsidiary and the Chinese e-commerce giant JD.com. Each of these corporate behemoths recognizes that stablecoins could slash cross-border transaction fees by dramatic percentages and enable near-instant settlement. For companies that operate across continents, shaving even a fraction of a percent off their transaction costs can translate to jaw-dropping sums over time. And it is not just e-commerce. Banking heavyweights are also scrambling to get a piece of this new frontier. JP Morgan Chase recently unveiled plans for a so-called permission deposit token named JPMD on the Base network. This deposit token theoretically offers many of the perks of a stablecoin: swift settlement, blockchain transparency, easy integration, yet remains tied closely to the traditional banking world. The idea is that customers would trust a well-regulated banking institution far more than a random unknown crypto startup. Whether that trust is justified is a matter of debate, but the mere presence of such interest from JP Morgan shows that stablecoins have arrived in the mainstream. Likewise, Deutsche Bank has indicated that it is exploring its own stablecoin issuance, presumably to future-proof itself in an evolving global currency environment. While banks tackle these innovations, corporations are not far behind. You might have noticed that Elon Musk's X platform has teased an all-in-one payment solution called X Money. Although Musk has not officially labeled it a stablecoin project, the rumor mill suggests that stablecoin technology might underpin the platform's future. And let us not forget about Meta. After the demise of its Libra and Diem initiatives, it seems poised to try again, prompting certain politicians to pen letters warning Mark Zuckerberg not to reawaken old controversies. When an enormous social media network with billions of users toys with the idea of launching a native currency, an immediate fear emerges that it could crowd out smaller competitors and tilt the economic balance in unknown ways. So, the question stands: why exactly is the federal government in such a rush to pass stablecoin regulations? And why is President Trump so eager to push them through? One line of reasoning points to the global currency race. Several countries have grown wary of the US dollar's dominant role in global trade, leading them to initiate de-dollarization efforts. In that environment, stablecoins pegged to the US dollar may actually reinforce the greenback's status. If trillions of dollars worth of stablecoins circulate globally, the demand for U.S. Treasury bills could balloon, since stablecoin issuers must hold robust reserves to guarantee their tokens peg. That demand might help finance America's growing deficits and cement the dollar's foothold in cross-border commerce. In the eyes of Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, stablecoins could become one of the largest buyers of T-bills in just a handful of years. Although estimates vary widely, with some experts pegging the potential stablecoin purchases at $500 billion within 7 years and others going as high as $2 or $3 trillion, the possibility of stablecoins fortifying demand for government debt is an intriguing one for Washington. As the United States grapples with questions about its credit rating and foreign holders trimming their Treasury obligations, stablecoins might provide a safety valve. Still, the scenario is not without risk. Experts warn of the dreaded run-on-the-bank phenomenon, in which a sudden loss of faith in a major stablecoin prompts users to redeem en masse, potentially forcing issuers to dump treasuries in a liquidity crunch. If those issuers cannot liquidate quickly enough, they might fail to meet redemption requests, shattering confidence across financial markets and potentially causing havoc in the parallel world of decentralized finance. Some critics liken it to the vulnerabilities that triggered bank runs in earlier eras, only this time magnified by modern, hyper-connected technology. We should take a moment to highlight how quickly stablecoins are infiltrating different corners of society. Publicly traded companies might soon be issuing their own stablecoins, provided they pass muster with the Stablecoin Certification Review Committee established by the Genius Act. Privately held firms, such as Elon Musk's social networking empire, could bypass certain committees, leading them to roll out tokens at an even faster rate. Imagine a future in which half a dozen top corporations each have a stablecoin for their brand ecosystems, used by loyal customers and integrated with popular e-commerce or travel platforms. That world is not as distant as it may sound. One particularly captivating subplot to keep an eye on is how the House of Representatives will respond to President Trump's no-nonsense push. The House has been working on its own market structure legislation for digital assets, which might complicate the swift passage of the Senate's version of the Genius Act. Representatives could attempt to bundle stablecoin legislation with more contentious proposals around the overall digital asset marketplace. Although Trump insists that stablecoins need a clean bill, free of additional baggage, politics rarely runs so smoothly. Public opinion is equally split. Some are cheering because they believe stablecoins can democratize finance. Others see them as a Trojan horse for shady activities or unscrupulous profiteering. Then there are those who worry about the possibility of partisan wrangling overshadowing the actual policy details. Will representatives from both sides find enough common ground to produce a unified stablecoin framework that fosters innovation and protects consumers? Or will we get bogged down in months of negotiation? No discussion of stablecoins can ignore the March fiasco involving Circle and its reserves. When Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, Circle revealed that it kept over $3 billion of its liquidity in that failing institution. The crisis prompted a temporary de-pegging of USDC, sowing doubt in the hearts of many users. The panic subsided only after the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation stepped in. The experience underscored the stablecoin sector's dependence on healthy banking relationships. As stablecoins expand, the question of who insures their reserves, how they hold them, and how quickly they can convert to cash if trouble arises remains at the forefront of regulatory concerns. With so many different voices jockeying for influence, it is hard to predict the next twist. But John or Jane Q, public might feel a mixture of exhilaration and anxiety at the prospect that their future might hinge on the decisions made in Washington during these pivotal weeks and months. Are we on the cusp of a digital money revolution where stablecoins become as ubiquitous as debit cards? Or will these developments give rise to new forms of concentration and market manipulation? As we analyze this, it is worth remembering that behind all the political showmanship and corporate strategizing, there is a very real impetus driving stablecoin adoption: human convenience. No longer will individuals or businesses want to wait several working days for funds to clear, nor will they want to pay exorbitant rates for cross-border payments. Stablecoins cut down on fees and time, and that is exactly why big-name corporations, from Amazon to Airbnb, are rumored to be exploring stablecoin payment integrations. Watching the rollout of these features, one might see the impending transformation as unstoppable. The question is not if stablecoins become mainstream, but when. Yet, the more mainstream stablecoins become, the more potential there is for a meltdown scenario if even one major player falters. Confidence can be precarious in digital markets, and flash crashes often occur in the blink of an eye. So far, Circle's longtime rival Tether has weathered storms, but it continues to face scrutiny over whether it can comply with the Act's transparency demands. Tether's track record of revealing audit results remains murky to skeptics, so the new legislation might finally force them into greater disclosure. With President Trump calling for immediate action, we are left to wonder whether his own personal or family interests in stablecoin issuance play a part. The newly established currency called USD1, rumored to be tethered to the White House's future plans, might derive enormous benefits if it receives immediate federal endorsement. If that scenario plays out, we could see a strong reaction from rival stablecoin issuers or from lawmakers who see the potential for conflicts of interest. Could the White House be fueling the stablecoin frenzy to pave the path for its own token to dominate federal payments? We must also keep an eye on the real-world impact. Think of the ecosystem of vendors, small businesses, and local financial institutions that might adopt stablecoins as an alternative to traditional bank services. If stablecoins were to slash fees and speed up settlement times, small enterprises could thrive. Some speculate that the widespread integration of stablecoins might even chip away at the power of big banks to levy heavy transaction charges. Of course, the banks that move quickly enough to issue their own stablecoins, or deposit tokens, might preserve their influence by becoming the gatekeepers of these new digital channels. As the drama unfolds, it is not all smooth sailing for stablecoin pioneers. The obstacles ahead include potential friction with the House, unpredictable reactions from foreign markets, and the looming risk of a run if confidence wavers. Yet Circle's stock rally has signaled that many believe the door to major profits has just swung wide open. Those who recall the early technological leaps of the internet era can imagine a scenario where stablecoins form the foundation for a new wave of online services, each of them dependent on seamless micropayments, streaming money, and borderless financial instruments. If you are entertained so far and want to stay on top of the future of stablecoins, be sure to subscribe or follow our channel. We are just scratching the surface of what might be the biggest story in digital finance for the coming years, and you do not want to miss the next update as events continue to unfold. From the halls of Congress to the servers at corporate headquarters, the story of stablecoins is one that connects to our everyday lives more than many suspect. To bring our investigation full circle, no pun intended, we must return to the biggest question: how soon could we see a stablecoin law formally enacted? If the Senate's Genius Act stands on its own, it might gain the House's stamp of approval sooner rather than later, particularly if the president keeps the pressure on. Yet the House has its own agenda, including digital asset market structure bills that some want to package together with the stablecoin rules. The risk is that the momentum behind stablecoins could get lost in the wider shuffle of political wrangling. And here is where the intrigue really heats up. Trump's flamboyant call for a clean bill signals that he does not want stablecoin regulations watered down or postponed. But certain members of the House leadership might favor a more cautious approach, insisting that stablecoins are too large an issue to rush through without tackling broader concerns around digital assets, anti-money laundering measures, and investor protections. Time will tell how these cross-currents resolve themselves, and we will be watching every twist and turn, as the future of global finance could hinge on a few paragraphs of legislative text. Even if, by some stroke of fate, stablecoin regulations do not pass as quickly as President Trump wants, the fervor that has erupted around Circle and the entire sector shows no sign of subsiding. From cross-border payments to e-commerce integrations, stablecoins are on the verge of radically changing how we pay for goods and services. While huge banks like JP Morgan are forging deposit tokens, technology innovators like Coinbase and Shopify are bridging the gap between everyday users and blockchain-based transactions. Meanwhile, the risk of contagion lurks just beneath the surface, driving caution among even the most enthusiastic adopters. Yet caution often goes out the window when the allure of first-mover advantage beckons. Early adopters of stablecoins stand to capture entire swaths of new markets, from unbanked populations eager to transact digitally to multinational corporations seeking ways to cut settlement times. With Circle's success and Tether's dominance under the microscope, the stablecoin market may well see new challengers appear in force, each backed by major financial players. In the years, or perhaps months, to come, the competition could be fierce. Of particular note is how the rest of the world responds to the United States, should stablecoins indeed become enshrined by an act of Congress. Certain European banks are setting the stage for euro-based tokens to ensure that not all stablecoin traffic flows through the dollar pipeline. Asia, too, appears poised to adopt stablecoin regulations that encourage local versions of these tokens, potentially giving American issuers a run for their money in key economic corridors. Whether the United States truly cements its leadership in digital assets might hinge on how effectively the Trump administration, and whichever administration follows, can navigate international partnerships. Still, the fierce momentum on display right now cannot be overlooked. The day the Senate passed the Genius Act, Circle's share price popped so dramatically that many finance professionals started calling around, anxious about how quickly the stablecoin revolution was unfolding. As more corporations, Airbnb, Apple, Amazon, Walmart, and others, reportedly inch toward adopting dollar-backed tokens, we may reach a tipping point. Once stablecoin transactions become as routine as swiping a credit card, public perceptions of money itself could transform. How soon will that day come? Perhaps not instantly, but the wheels are in motion. Regulators are dashing to craft rules that will hopefully prevent catastrophic failures or unscrupulous maneuvers. American legislators are at the center of the action, juggling industry feedback, consumer protection, and national security concerns. The final shape of the law could decide whether stablecoins truly bring the promised benefits or introduce a new era of digital vulnerabilities. At the center of it all is Circle, enjoying its role as a poster child for stablecoin legitimacy. Their frantic schedule of new partnerships and expansions, from e-commerce solutions in Brazil to derivative collateral in the United States, exemplifies how stablecoins are quickly filtering into diverse corners of finance. With the president rallying behind them, at least for the moment, Circle's top executives see nothing but green lights ahead. Yet one misstep, such as repeated bank collapses or a severe market downturn, could shift sentiment in the blink of an eye. Whatever the next weeks bring, one thing is clear. Stablecoins are no longer a fringe concept. They have found their way into the halls of power, where presidents, senators, and mightily influential businesses are all racing to shape how the next generation of money works. Will the Genius Act be the holy grail that propels the United States to new heights, or will it crack open a Pandora's box of financial complications? Stay tuned, because as President Trump insists on speed, the rest of the world is watching and waiting, eager to see whether the stablecoin dream can become a sustainable reality.